Quilt Show family out there. This is Rob Appell in California, and my guest today is Barbara H. Cline. We'll get back to the H in a moment, out of Virginia. Good morning and afternoon, Barbara.
Good afternoon, Bob.
That's right. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Great, great. That quilt behind you is incredible. I know we're getting a little bit of visual play with the focus on it, but I can't do the interview without the quilt because it's too cool. So thank you for having that.
Yes, I'll just explain a little bit about this quilt. It is, you can see the diamond chains that are running through the quilt. And also, if you look at it closely, you see a dark side of the diamond and a light side. The light side does not have any overlay. The dark side has an overlay over top, creating 4 more fabrics. So you have 8 shades of each fabric. So that's what gives the quilt the depth. So it looks like these diamonds are riding up on top of the diamond.
Barbara, you're one of the wonderful authors at C&T Publishing, correct?
Right.
And I understand this is not your first rodeo?
No, this is really my 3rd book. My 3rd book that has just come out is Diamond Chain Quilts, which all have diamond chains in each of the quilts.
Wow. And so the quilt behind you, is that part of the diamond chain?
Yes, and that's one of the quilts that have the pattern in the book. And all the quilts in here, they're either the diamonds are running through a square block layout, or they're running through a triangle base block layout, or a diamond base block layout.
Have the books kind of built step by step upon each other, and it sounded like your books are kind of a workbook where you can do chapter 1 and that prepares you for chapter 2 and keep moving through it. So it sounds like you get a lot of value out of your books.
Yes, each one of the books, they start on a simpler base, and then there's skills built into each chapter.
Wow, and is the skills the technique of the piecing and the color, the way you're playing with your color?
I always talk about the coloring and choosing the different fabrics and the skills as well. I mean, what you're learning and the technique.
Okay, so Barbara switched out one of the quilts behind her. Tell us the story behind this one, Barbara.
All right, this is a strip piece quilt, and you can see that the diamonds are running through it, but this is running through a diamond base layout, block layout. So your block is here. Okay?
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to show you on this quilt. It's a very fast piecing quilt. You can see that I have dark and it goes to light, so that gives it a little more depth. All right. And here is a diamond chain that runs through a square layout. And so the square is right here. So the diamonds are running diagonally through a square block.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah, and this is a sampler quilt with these pinwheels in between the sampler blocks.
Right. This is kind of that, this you were showing me here, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that
so
might make it a little easier for folks to see at home. There's that layout for that block.
Right.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Except for this one here, then half of the triangle is part of this sampler block. So to make a diamond chain, this example would be in some of the quilts are templates to create the diamond, and then some of them are done with this strip unit. So there's 2 different ways to piece these diamond chains. So I'm going to show you, for instance, like the one that was in the Amish Grace quilt.
Okay.
This is that I would have used for that. So I'm going to get, I have sewed 3 strips together, and the outside strips are a 1/4 inch bigger than the inside strip. Now in my book I have charts, so if you want to make a 45-degree diamond and 3-inch diamonds, it gives you a chart how many will make a certain length.
Okay, now I'm going to comment on that, and I'm not trying to be a smart aleck.
Okay.
When you say the white fabrics are a 1/4 inch larger right now, It's not just because they've been consumed in the seam allowance of the red fabric, correct?
They are cut a 1/4 inch larger.
So, for example, if your red was 2 inches, the whites would be 2 1/4 cut.
Right.
Thank you. Got
it. Okay. So I've sewed the 3 strips together, and there are 45-degree diamonds or 60-degree diamonds. I'm going to show you the 45-degree diamond.
Okay.
So when I make this cut, I am getting the 45-degree line here, and I'm placing it at the bottom of my strip, and I will get my cutter and cut the edge off. Okay, the second strip, whatever width this here is, when you cut it, which was 1 3/4, you're going to cut parallel to this line here, meaning I'm going to find the 1 3/4 inch line and bring it up on the edge that I previously cut. Okay, so once I have this 45-degree line, and it's very, you can wiggle this, so you really have to double check everything so that you're making accurate cuts.
Because the accuracy is going to really be important for lining your points up later, huh?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
So then you would cut, and you have another strip, and go one down through there. Okay? So once you have 5 of these, in this sample, I'll have 5 strips, then you're going to stagger them. See how they stagger out?
Like a checkerboard on point.
Right. And you're going to piece these. And this is the part of pinning that I was going to tell you about that is critical. So when I pin these two together, I'm coming back a 1/4 inch perpendicular from this side. So I'm putting my pin in the seam a 1/4 inch. It's not a 1/4 inch in this direction, but a 1/4 inch in this direction. You're going to pin a 1/4 inch in from the edge of the fabric. It's not a 1/4 inch from your stitching line because that brings it back too far. It's a 1/4 inch from the edge. When you put your pin in, you're going to look and make sure that it is coming right out at the seam allowance.
So it comes out of the seam allowance on the back side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And often my seams are pressed one direction. So when I stick this in, if my seam allowance is pressed to the left, my pins will go on the right side of that stitching.
Okay.
Okay. Then when I pin it into the back one, I'm doing the same thing. I'm coming in a 1/4 inch from this edge, this direction. Not this way, but this direction.
Got it. Along the outer edge.
Along the outer edge. And you are pinching your fabric tight when you bring this pin around so that your top fabric doesn't slide this way and your back fabric slide that way.
Thank you. Got it.
Then when you sew, you'll cross it at that point.
Okay.
And by doing that, then you should have nice, perfect points. On each end of these strips, after they're sewed together, you're going to sew a rectangle, and the book tells you what size to put on the end of these chains. Okay. So once you've sewed a rectangle on both ends, you're going to get your ruler, and you're going to measure a 1/4 of an inch from the diamond tips. So as you put it on there, then you're going to cut like so. And you can see here that that's what you want. So you're going to trim off both sides of the diamond chain. Once you have your diamond strip, you're going to have fabric that's extra fabric out here, and you will get a square ruler and lay it down, and you want a 45-degree cut.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to use a ruler that has a diagonal line through it, down through here, because then that you can line it up to the center of your, to the tip of your diamond and get a nice edge.
That way you have at least 3 points of alignment to look at, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Got it. That's a
And
nice tip anytime you're cutting. Thanks, Barbara.
and also, so you're going to trim off both ends. So that's what makes the unit. And
Okay.
then you're just going to put whatever square block on, or a triangle. You're going to put a triangle on each side forming the square. With the book Diamond Chain Quilts, this particular quilt only has 2 blocks that you need to piece. The first block is this here. So you're just making this particular triangle, and you're changing colors,
Okay.
and you're making this triangle block.
That one I need you to slide the book a little down for me. Okay, great. And that looks like it's got a gradient of orange on one half of the triangle.
Right.
Got it. Okay, I see it now.
Okay, and they're the only 2 blocks that you piece this quilt with. They're basic, simple blocks to piece.
Wow. Well, your piecing looks very complex, but you've made it look and sound so very simple. Would you really say that a beginner could pick up this book and do it?
This would probably be more of an intermediate.
Okay, that seems fair.
Yeah, intermediate.
Do you have a book for a beginner that wants to learn this kind of piecing?
The first 2 books that I pieced, the first quilts in both books are larger piecing, simpler piecing techniques.
And that's why the books are so nice as a workshop style book where you gain skill as you work your way through the chapters.
Right. Right.
Okay, everyone. So that's kind of the wrap up here on the Diamond Chain Quilts from Barbara H. Cline out of Virginia. Fantastic author and teacher for C&T Publishing. Barbara, thank you so much for all that you just did for us and all the learning. And we hope that everyone can see well and everyone will visit. Tell us the name of your blog again.
It's Quilting Gal.
Quilting Gals.
And at Blogspot.
At Blogspot. And the name of the website
is Delightful Piecing.
Delightful Piecing. And I just can't thank you enough for the fabulous work, and thanks for keeping us all learning out here.
Well, thank you.
All right. Everyone, Barbara Cline, bravo, bravo.